You're watching Fugitive Red Eye, and welcome to yet another episode of Takeshi Tuesdays. In today's episode, we'll be talking about two different movies rather than just one, because Takeshi's involvement with the sequel is much lesser than his involvement with the first one, so I decided to lump them together into one video. But today we'll be talking about Battle Royale. Neither of these are movies that Takeshi directed, however he did star in both of them. So we'll talk about Battle Royale 1 first. Now, Battle Royale is a 2000 film that runs for a total of 113 minutes. It stars one of my favorite Japanese actors, Tatsuya Fujiwara, who, if you don't know, was the guy who played Light Yagami in the Death Note live-action movies. The good ones, not the bad one. And Takeshi himself plays the main villain in this movie, a teacher by the name of Mr. Kitano. Obviously, that being his last name, it's sort of like he's playing himself. They actually do that in the second one as well with the teacher, but I'll get to that in a minute. But for those of you unfamiliar, Battle Royale is the story of this new Japanese law called the Battle Royale Act, which is where they round up a bunch of unruly students and make them fight to the death on this island. They randomly select a class every year and have them fight it out, where one will survive and all the rest are dead. If you've seen the Hunger Games, this might sound very familiar. That's because it's a very similar plot. Now, to give the Hunger Games author benefit of the doubt, she claims she's never heard of Battle Royale, and she based the Hunger Games more off the lottery. And there are definitely elements of the lottery in the Hunger Games, but they are very similar movies. But I would say, benefit of the doubt, coincidence could be there. There's a lot of people, myself included, who have thought, she probably ripped it off, or, was inspired by it. But really, rewatching it, because I've seen this movie a total of 3 times now, the first Battle Royale, that is, I really don't think they're that similar, other than the fact that it's a big death match with a bunch of students. A lot of the rest of it is a very different beat. I mean, granted, there is still the romance in it too, so again, they are very similar, but they are kind of different too, and I do think Battle Royale is definitely the superior movie. Battle Royale is also a lot more violent than the Hunger Games, and it does have some cheesy moments in it. And there will be spoilers for the end of Battle Royale 1, just because to talk about the sequel, I will need to spoil some stuff, so you have been warned. That will be up ahead here in a moment. But anyway, Battle Royale follows the main character, Shuya Nanahara, and his girlfriend, Noriko Nakagawa, as they kind of try and survive on the island, and, everyone's killing each other. And eventually they do escape alongside another guy who was who was in a previous Battle Royale, and basically enlisted by volunteer. There were actually 2 people who voluntarily enlisted. One of them was a fucking crazy person, and the other one was a really nice guy who helps them out of there. He actually helps them disable their collars, which, if you don't know, they had these collars on that would have made them die if they disobeyed orders. He helps them get their collars off, and they escape the island, which leads into the second movie. So now let's talk a little bit about Battle Royale 2. Now, Battle Royale 2 Requiem is a movie that was made in 2003, and it runs for 133 minutes in the theatrical version. However, there is a director's cut that runs for 152 minutes. However, that director's cut is incredibly hard to come by, and I have not seen the director's cut version. Once again, it does star Tatsuya Fujiwara as Shuya Nanahara. However, he does not actually show up in the movie until about halfway through. You do see one little clip with him in the beginning, but overall, he isn't super prominent until halfway through. But basically, what happened after he and his girlfriend escaped the island, they started a militia group and have declared war on adults, which is a bit weird. But it works in the context of it. But they basically want to end Battle Royale. So a second Battle Royale is put into place called Battle Royale 2, which has slightly different rules. The students are to go out and kill Shuya Nanahara. Whoever does that wins. That's what there is to it. Now, there's a character in this one named Shiori Kitano, who is the daughter of Kitano, the one played by Takeshi in the previous movie. Now, she actually voluntarily enlisted in this Battle Royale because she wants to get revenge, because at the end of the first movie, Shuya killed Kitano. If you hear that, you're probably wondering how Takeshi has any involvement with the sequel. Well, it's because he is seen in a flashback, which was filmed specifically for this movie. It wasn't one that was just like a scene from the other one. It was a flashback to give more context to his relationship with his daughter. I won't spoil this one, but basically they come to fight Shuya, and eventually they do kind of end up teaming up with him and all trying to take down the Battle Royale. The teacher in this one is a guy named Riki Takuchi. Again, that's the actor's name himself. So it's kind of a thing between both movies, whereas the teachers play characters that have their own names. Now, as far as Battle Royale 2, Takeshi was only in one scene, so he wasn't anywhere near as prominent as he was in the first one, where he was in most of the movie. Battle Royale 2, for whatever reason, is universally hated. I actually really like Battle Royale 2. It's definitely a flawed movie compared to the first one. Like, the first one isn't perfect either, but it's better. So, a little bit of context on the actual making of these movies. The director Kinji Fukasaku, who directed the first movie, was originally going to direct the sequel. However, he died during production, and he only directed one scene. The scene with Takeshi in it, ironically. And the two of them were actually longtime friends who had worked together prior to that. But after Kinji Fukasaku died, his son Kenta Fukasaku took over making the movie. His son's also the one who wrote both movies. Another little tidbit is Kinji Fukasaku is also the guy who was originally going to direct Violent Cop, Takeshi's first directorial movie, before handing the mantle over to Takeshi. Battle Royale 2 is a very entertaining movie. It's more of a war movie than the first one is, and it's a very different movie, but I absolutely loved it. It had some weird flaws, like there's some weird stuff where they bring in America and try to make the movie kind of anti-American, which I thought was odd and didn't make any sense in the context of the film. But if you can ignore that, the rest of it's actually really good. There's a few other weird things, like he declares war on all adults rather than just, the system that created Battle Royale 2. And then for some reason, they try to say it's America's fault, even though it was a Japanese law that was passed. There's definitely some weird shit in it, and not all the character motivations make sense, because some characters, just change their mind and change sides on a dime. It's a bit odd as well. But overall, I'd say it's a decent sequel, nowhere near as good as the first, but I absolutely loved it too, and I think it gets way more hate than it deserves. Battle Royale 1, on the other hand, is widely considered to be a classic and considered to be a great movie, and I think it well deserves it, because Battle Royale 1 is a fantastic movie. Other than that, I highly recommend checking it out if you like, if you like action movies, and you like Takeshi, obviously, since he is a major part of the first movie. He did actually use one of his own paintings in the first movie, because, he painted a picture for the first movie where it has the thing featuring Noriko as a main feature of it, because the teacher, Kitano, was obsessed with the student, Noriko, which was a kind of an odd plot point in the first one. But it's a great movie, and they're great movies, and I highly recommend seeing them if you haven't. But anyway, this has been Fugitive Red Eye with another episode of Takeshi Tuesdays, and I'll see you next time.
Subscribe to Fugitive Red Eye.